things that we get asked about quite frequently is related to enforcement. So for me, that's been one of the most frustrating things that I've come across as a counsellor, is the complete and total lack of enforcement that we seem to experience. And I'll give you a classic example. If you live in the ward of Cllr and Dedworth West, you will have noticed, if you walk down Galleys Road or drive down Galleys Road, there's a missing house. A house that was there is no more. And this was knocked down, despite being a semi-detached and attached to its neighbour. It was knocked down without planning permission. And both Wisdom and myself have been contacting the planning department and asking them what's going on, because the couple that are living in the adjoining house have spent the winter with their party wall exposed to the elements. That just a sheet of plastic is there, so there's no proper insulation, and these are elderly, vulnerable people who have not been supported by our planning enforcement. The other thing we see quite frequently is when we have our utility companies coming out and disrupting our roads and our pavements, and they are meant to make good any digging that they've done or any lifting up of the road or pavements. And I kind of wonder what making good is meant to be when you look at the state of the pavements, with the undulation from where they've been ripped up by one utility company, allegedly made good, then another company comes along, and you've just got different levels of tarmac and paving all over the place. And we have no one who comes out and checks that this is good enough. And so these are some of the elements that I have personally found very frustrating. In addition to that, and I don't think there's anybody who hasn't heard or seen complaints about pavement parking. We have no one around who is able to enforce pavement parking and obstruction. I've seen elderly people have to walk into the road. I've seen mothers with pushchairs having to walk into the road. I've seen people on disability scooters having to go out into the road because they can't actually get past a parked vehicle, as well as children and other adults. They're having to walk out into the traffic to be able to negotiate their way along their journey on foot. This is just not good enough. So the West Windsor Resident Association councillors have proposed that we invest in some more community wardens and some enforcement officers. These would be local people or living in the area, so they would be employed locally, so it'll increase employment. And also we would keep it in-house so that any enforcement levies or fines would remain within the borough. These officers would be able to enforce against any breaches within development, so builders, developers that do not develop as per planning consent, and also utility companies when they rip up our pavements. If they're not making good, which is good or good enough, then they would also be fined, and we would have this money then that we could reinvest. So remember, on the 4th of May, you have 2 votes. Don't split the vote, and vote for Carole and Wisdom Da Costa.